Hey everybody, quick question. When I'm recording on my phone, landscape or portrait, which you feel works best? Welcome back to RPG A Day. I did entirely miss this weekend. Just too busy to try to get things in around the family, even though it's quick. Like with two little ones and doing family things, it's just hard to find good time to record. So RPG of the Day 5, which was Saturday, I believe, is oldest RPG that we've played. For me, that was second edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, or Advanced Second Edition, whichever way the wording goes. Right? We all know what we're talking about. 2E AD&D, right? So that's the oldest one that I have ever played. I've never played any of the first edition versions, and I did not play it first. The story goes, I did second edition AD&D is the first RPG book that I ever got my hands on, and I made characters in. And I did get to sit down with someone and roll dice, but I would never say that session was, I'm so sorry, this is shaking. Whoop. So hard to hold it well and keep my thumb off of the camera, sorry. I wouldn't have called that session role-playing. And when I talk about, like, especially in RPG A Day, my first time role-playing, I never count this session. The guy let me bring in 6 of the 7 characters I had made as a total party all at the same time and basically ran through a dungeon. So I didn't have the bandwidth to role play any of these characters. It was basically just a dungeon crawl. He didn't have any kind of non-combat scenario for me, at least that I remember. It was all just a dungeon crawl that we played in, for a while. I wouldn't even say we finished anything. It was kind of just an experience. But I knew, the whole reason I did it is because I knew I was interested in role-playing. And I knew that this wasn't everything. But I was still super naive to even, look, can I bring all 7 characters? He's like, I'll limit you to 6. Instead of no, I'll GMPC a few people and you just play one. He didn't even, so I don't count that. So the first role-playing was Rifts and then quickly followed by Marvel when I did my own stuff in 93. As I said earlier, well, I didn't say it here, 30th anniversary to me role-playing. But later in life, I actually remember when. It would have been like spring, summer of 2000. One of my roommates, the GM that I referenced in day 2, or I think it was day 2, he had been talking about a second edition D&D game he was in, and I felt like the GM had a really well built out world, and it was full of lore, and it wasn't a combat slug, so I was interested, and I joined it for a while, and I only quit playing it, which the GM was supposed to know that I was going to quit playing it, before, as I went into student teaching, because that was still when I was trying to go for an education degree, and you don't do anything big when you're in your student teaching semester. That should be all you're living and breathing at that point. Which, as an aside story, was the only time I've had a GM be a dick to me, right? Break that rule, right? He was a real dick. I missed a session because I was having problems with my car, and I'd already pointed out, like, hey, I'm only in this game for like the next couple sessions or whatever. And I'm talking with my roommate friend about the next session after that, making it, and he's like, I don't know if you want to bother. He killed your character while you were gone. Your character's not dead. He let us resurrect your character, but then, we needed to pay the temple or cult or whatever who raised you, and we didn't have the money, so your character's basically in indentured servitude to those people. And I was like, what an ass. I mean, that could potentially have a formative reason why I'm also so kind of anti D&D. Besides, maybe I don't think so. It's mostly all the mechanics and the tropishness of it, which it isn't tropish. It is the father of the tropes, so it isn't tropish. It didn't copy. Anyways, and a side note, this guy wrote for White Wolf, and I was kind of like, yeah. One guy asked for experience one time in a session, and he was like, for what? And I was like, role playing? I mean, because we ran in groups where we got experience for role playing. And he was like, this isn't role playing. If you want role playing, join my blah, blah, blah White Wolf product game. And it's like, we sat and talked the whole session. How is that not? I mean, granted, we talk a lot of tactics, but we did other things. Whatever. What a pompous dick. Anyways, in the spirit of RPG a day, that is by far a minority. That is the only time it's ever happened. It was the first and last time it's ever happened. Yes, the only other bad experience I had was another D&D GM, ironically enough. Huh. But most of us are cool, even if we're not really great or skilled yet. Most of us are cool. See you later.